Breakthroughs. We all have them. We all want them. We've all experienced them. And I think that we're moving in a place where breakthroughs are what is called for globally, personally. So I want to analyze this morning how we can be in cooperation with the breakthroughs that can happen in our lives in different ways. We see breakthroughs that are happening all the time in science. We see breakthroughs that are happening in sports. You know, there's always a new world record that seems to be being set. And yet we also know that evolutionarily we are growing, we are expanding, we are awakening, and we're kind of at that place where we need to push through and we need to have a breakthrough so that we can awaken to whatever the next level is for all of us, for the planet, for humanity, for the animals, for the plants, for all of it. So some of the ways that we can begin then to cooperate, if you will, and to call forth breakthroughs within our own lives, there are things that we can do. So I've got it down to about 5 or 6 steps, I think. Easy breezy, right? One is by saying yes to our good. Now that may seem like a little thing, like no big deal. Yeah, big deal, say yes. But the truth is, I think that so many of us, the thing that is stopping us from manifesting our dream isn't something in the outer world necessarily, but more times than not, it seems to be something that's inside of us that is stopping ourselves from achieving our dreams. Yeah? Do you agree with me? Yeah. And it's limiting beliefs and it's all that stuff, and we've talked about that over the course of this series on dreams. And as I've been talking with people about their dreams, one of the questions is how good are you at keeping agreements with yourself versus other people? And 90% of people that I talk to say they're great at keeping agreements with other people, but not so much with ourselves. And yet the truth is, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're not nurturing ourselves, and if we're not giving to ourselves, then we become depleted, and it becomes difficult to then give to others. It becomes difficult to become a part of this whole cosmos, if you will, and have breakthroughs, because we're sort of standing there in our not enoughness. Yeah? And so we want to begin to let go of that. And so one of the ways we do that is we say yes. We say yes to good, and we say yes to our dream, and we lean into it. Because sometimes that's all it takes, is to lean into it. Because the truth is, who else knows what you need more than you? Huh? I mean, we could hope that other people know really what we want, but the truth is, I know what I need and what I want, and I am responsible for beginning to give myself that. So I think one of the first steps to a breakthrough is that ability to say yes. Yes to our good. Now, the second step sort of goes along with that, and that is the generosity. Jesus said that to those who have will more be given, and to those who have not, even that will be taken away. And I believe what he means by that is we're all given gifts and talents. We're all given dreams. Yeah? And as we give to that, as we immerse ourselves in that, then we have even more. As I use my talents, then I have more, right? Have you found that to be true? Use it or lose it, right? And if we don't use it, then we seem to lose it. And I believe it is the same thing with our possessions, and it leads to generosity, because when we are feeling that I am not enough, when I'm feeling lack and limit, that is when I need to step into the idea of generosity. So we first say yes to our good, we say yes to the universe, and then we stand in generosity. Now, if you find that you are stuck in any part of your life, whether it be financial or in relationship, stop and look at it and go, okay, so what is it that I can give to this experience so that it can become unstuck? The truth is that when we stand in appreciation and when we stand in generosity, when we give from that place, it becomes an antidote to the not enoughness. Because when I'm enough and when I have plenty, then I'm in a position to be generous. I'm in a position to give. And that aspect of generosity can lead through and to a breakthrough past the stuckedness. So an example. Next Sunday, I am going to be in Chicago to see Paul McCartney at Wrigley Field. Now, for those of you that know me, Wrigley Field and Paul McCartney in the same place, that's like nirvana for me. That's like ascension time, so hey. So there's a concert Sunday night and a concert Monday night. Long story I won't share with you, but I ended up having more tickets than I actually needed. And so I ended up with 3 tickets for Sunday night, and I have a wedding on Saturday, and I am not probably going to get there for Sunday night. So I needed to unload these tickets, and I already had tickets for Monday night. And they're not cheap, you know, they're about $180 a piece. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. And I kept thinking, well, I can sell them, no big deal, not a problem. And my girlfriend, who also has tickets, she goes, have you been on eBay or Craigslist lately? I'm like, no. She goes, there's like 400 tickets for sale. So, okay. So I was feeling this stuck energy. I was just feeling like this heavy weightedness, like what did I do? What was I thinking? And then I began to go, okay, so what's the worst that could happen? And I thought the worst that would happen was that these tickets aren't used and they go to waste. That would be huge. So in practicing these principles, I thought, all right, what if I stood in a place of generosity? Like there is way more than enough. And so I took one of the tickets and I mailed them to one of my girlfriends on Friday that I knew really wanted to go, but she doesn't have the finances to do it. And so I just sent it to her as an early birthday present. And what that did, that act, began to loosen up the energy that was stuck for me. And it began to loosen up that energy around, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't have enough. And all of a sudden it began to flow, and I began to think of other friends that I had in the city. And so I just sent out an email, and one of my girlfriends said, everybody's been asking me all week, am I going to the concert? And I said, only if somebody calls me and says they have a ticket. And so I'm going, and she bought the other 2 tickets. So it's clean and it's clear, and I'm excited about going. And the truth is, I don't know that I would have moved through that stuck energy if I hadn't taken one of them and said, I'm tithing this back. I am going to just tithe this out to the universe and to, you know, a lovely friend, and just see what happens with it. So when you find yourself, if you're stuck, it doesn't matter what area of your life, stop and go to the opposite in the place of generosity and go, how can I be generous here? How can I give to this experience rather than looking to see what I'm going to get or what I'm going to lose? Yeah? So I think the third way that we can cooperate with breakthroughs is by listening to divine guidance. So we're saying yes, we're standing in generosity, and then we're listening to guidance. Now the thing with guidance is that we can't only just listen and hear it. It's important that we take action. So when Spirit is, you know, kind of guiding us and telling us to, you know, that we need to move in a direction, it's important that we begin to actually take action on that. Because when we do, our guidance becomes stronger. So I received an email this week from Barbara Thorpe. She's one of our chaplains. She sent an email out to all the chaplains about a story that she had regarding following guidance. And she's in the process of packing up her mother's stuff and helping her move, probably into assisted living. And you all know what that project's like, right? You know, where you have just years and years of possessions. I'm going through it in my own home right now, going through 25 years of stuff. You know, I'm finding kids' games, and every box has so much energy, and every box holds so many memories that it's a big job. It's not about emptying a box and letting it go. It's about, okay, I'm taking out these memories as well. So Barbara Thorpe's mother collects sheet music, And she had 60,000 sheets of sheet music. Oh yes. So in her email she says, well, while in Portland Monday, my sister and I were in her apartment, and my sister said, what are we going to do with this sheet music? 60,000 sheets. And we both started to moan as we had packed and moved it already once to her apartment. And she said, Barbara said, she caught herself, she stopped moaning, and she silently said, God is in charge with ease and grace. And listen to the inner voice. So she began to make a list of things that she had to do that day. And there had been a message from one of her mother's friends on the phone. So she thought she would call him back. And she called him back because there was this inner prompting that said it was really important that she call him. So as she was talking to him, she told him about this sheet music. She says, you know, I got 60,000 sheets of sheet music. And her mother always said, you know how much that's worth, don't you? That's worth $60,000. It's like, yeah, right, Mom. Okay, whatever. So she's talking to this friend on the phone, and she says, do you know anybody that would want to buy my mother's sheet music? And he said, yeah, I think I would. And he said, how much? And she says, well, my mother said it was worth $60,000. And he said, I'll take it. I'll take it. $60,000 sounds like a good deal to me. So Barbara says it was so easy. It was done with ease and grace. Spirit was in charge, and I told my sister, and we jumped for joy. And I told her about the prayer work and about God being in charge. And what an amazing story, right? There's this stuckness. You're going through your stuff and you're like, oh my God, I got to pack this stuff and I got to move it. And then, okay, guidance is like, I need to talk to this guy and I'm not quite sure why. And then without even trying, there it is. And the money that is needed to help move into assisted living is there. So we move through breakthroughs by saying yes to God. We move into breakthroughs by standing and being generous, by not only hearing our guidance, but following our guidance as well.